Hello everyone and welcome to a new video on the channel. As mentioned in my last video, this video is just going to be, I've just gone through my collection and I've just picked out 10 films that I personally think are underrated, aren't talked about enough, but are actually quietly very good films. So yeah, I've picked up 10. If you like the video, if you enjoy the 10 recommendations that I give, let me know, and there's plenty more that I can do for recommendations. So this may be a part one, there may be more to come. All depends on the response to this video. But I'm going to get started with my number 10. So at number 10 is Click with Adam Sandler. A lot of people use the word poo-poo Adam Sandler's films post 90s. A lot of his comedies specifically don't stand up as well as his earlier ones. This one, though, I think is one of those rarities. It's a very good comedy, and I think it works because it is not just a comedy. There is a family element to it that's very strong. It's very emotional. Yes, there are comedy bits to it that really work and are really funny. But the emotion in this also packs a punch. There are some very emotional scenes. There's an emotional scene in this with basically Adam Sandler's character saying goodbye to his father, who is played by the Fonz, Henry Winkler. You've got a great supporting cast in this. You've got Kate Beckinsale, who plays his wife. You've got Christopher Walken, who plays basically the guy that gives him the remote. David Hasselhoff plays his boss. Sean Astin's in this. You've got yeah, just a great cast. It's, as I said, I think it's a very underrated film. It's one of his better comedies of the last 20 or so years, because he has done a lot of bad ones. But if you haven't seen this one, or it's been a long time since you've seen this one, then I definitely recommend giving it a watch, because like I said, a quiet, good film. Coming in at my number 9 is a romantic drama called The Best of Me, based on a book by Nicholas Sparks, starring Michelle Monaghan and James Marsden. This one is one that surprised me. I wasn't expecting much from it, but it is, again, very quietly a devastating film. It's a love story about two lovers when they were children, and they come together again as adults and look back at their past and what happened and ponder what could have been, that sort of thing. If you've seen Nicholas Sparks or read his books, you can expect a sad twist at the end, and there is one. This is one of his sadder twists. It hit me quite hard. It's a very good film, very good love story. As I said, very emotional watch. If you like romantic dramas, if you like Nicholas Sparks adaptations, then I highly implore you to give this one a shot. Coming in at number 8 is Awakenings, starring Robin Williams and Robert De Niro. This came out in 1990, and before watching this myself, I had never heard of it before. I didn't know it existed. I looked it up. It looks as though it kind of just went under the radar by the looks of things. Even though Robert De Niro was nominated for an Oscar back in 1990. But yeah, it's a great film. Directed by Penny Marshall, who obviously brought Big, League of Their Own, amongst many others. Written by Steve Zalian, who obviously went on to write Schindler's List a few years after this. And it's a fantastic true story about a doctor who's like a physician, and he's researching this drug that awakens these patients that remain in a catatonic state. It's set in the 50s, and Robert De Niro plays like the main patient that he's really trying to help, Leonard, and he basically it's basically a miraculous story. He gives this drug to these patients and they come alive again. They've been in this catatonic, some of them have been in a catatonic state for 20, 30 years, and they come alive again. It's a great film. If you've not seen it, I definitely recommend watching that. You've also got Max von Sydow in this. You've got John Hurd's in this as well. Music's done by Randy Newman. It's just a great film that I don't hear anyone talking about. So if you like these sorts of films, if you like Robin Williams, then definitely give this a shot because it's a great film. I just noticed my lighting is not very good. I think it's because the sun's gone in, but we'll carry on because there's nothing I can do about that. Coming in at number 7 is Due Date. I was looking at this and I realised this is one that I don't hear talked about in like great comedies of the last like 15 years. But again, I think it's a really, really standout comedy. It is directed by Todd Phillips, who obviously brought the Hangover films at the same time with this. He did this one in between the first and second Hangover. Obviously, you've got recently new Academy Award winner Robert Downey Jr., Zach Galifianakis, who I think his character is actually funnier in this than he is in the Hangover films. Might be a bit of a controversial opinion, but that is my opinion. And it's basically about a man who has to go on a road trip. Robert Downey Jr. has to go on a road trip with Zach Galifianakis' character across America to get home to his wife who has given birth. And as you can expect from a road trip comedy, lots of things go wrong. It's very funny. It has a lot of funny stuff in it. Jamie Foxx has a very small but funny performance in this. You've got Michelle Monaghan, who's playing Robert Downey Jr.'s character's wife. Juliette Lewis has a small part in this as well. It's a very funny film, as I said. I prefer this to most of the Hangover films. I don't think it's better than the first Hangover film, but it is definitely better than the second and the third one. If you've not seen this, if it's just gone under the radar, definitely recommend giving this one a go. Coming in at number 6 is Midnight Special. This is a film from 2016 directed by Jeff Nichols, who is directing the upcoming Bike Riders, also starring Michael Shannon. He's also done Loving, and he'd done another one which I can't think of off the top of my head. What was the other one he did? No, it's gone out of my head. He did something else as well, but I can't remember. We've also got Kirsten Dunst in this, who plays the young boy's mother. It's basically about a young boy who basically has superpowers. He is basically a superhero. And the government are chasing him. His dad's basically kidnapped him, along with Joel Edgerton's character, who's like his friend, I suppose. And the government is basically tracking him down. The government task force is led by Adam Driver and Sam Shepard. And they're basically trying to get him because they want to learn more about his powers, but his dad's basically trying to protect him, trying to get him somewhere because they have basically been told to go somewhere, and they do. It's a very good film. I watched this again not that long ago. Really good film. Highly underrated, as I said. Not talked about nearly enough, and it should be. It's one of my favourite films that came out in 2016. And I'm not a big sci-fi person, but I really did enjoy this. So yeah, that is Midnight Special. Then coming in at number 5, we have Contact, directed by Robert Zemeckis and starring Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey. This is like an alien contact film, as the title would suggest. But you don't really see the aliens, which I think is the very good thing. It's a very clever film, I will say. It is the closest film, if aliens were going to land tomorrow. This is although this is sci-fi, this is the most realistic one. This and Arrival, I would say. Jodie Foster gives a great performance. She's like a astronomer, a woman of science, should you say. And Matthew McConaughey's all about religion, so they kind of really clash. And they're trying to find out if aliens do exist, and like make first contact with them. You've got great supporting cast in this as well. You've got James Woods, John Hurt, Tom Skerritt, Angela Bassett. Music's done by Alan Silvestri. It's based on a book by Carl Sagan. It's just a great film. If you've not seen this, it's one, again, underrated. Don't hear it being talked about much, but it's a great film of the 90s. Definitely worth checking out. Coming in at number 4 is A Monster Calls. This also came out 2016 in America, 2017 here, and is about a young boy who is struggling with the fact that his mum's dying, basically. That's not a spoiler, that is the whole plot of the film. and he's really struggling with it. He's had to go and live with his grandmother, who he doesn't get on with, who's played by Sigourney Weaver. And his dad's not really in the picture. He is and he isn't. He lives in America, so he's come over to see him. And because he's angry, he basically throws all of his anger and his emotions into drawing. And one day, a monster comes to his window and says that he's going to tell him 3 stories, one on each night, and that will help him confront his nightmares, basically, and his fears. And it is a big message. The monster is a big message of death, basically, I suppose, and grief, and love as well. It's just a very good film. Again, one that was not talked about when it came out. Still don't really hear much about it, but it's a beautiful film. It is a beautiful film. You've got Felicity Jones playing his mother. As I said, Sigourney Weaver plays his grandmother, and it's just a wonderful film. Definitely recommend checking this one out. Now we're in my top 3. So coming in at number 3 is Three Kings, funnily enough. This one's directed by David O. Russell and stars George Clooney, Ice Cube, and Mark Wahlberg. I forgot who the other one was. And it's about 3 soldiers that basically are on a mission. They basically go out and they find gold in the middle of the desert that has basically been hidden by the Iraqi army. And they've basically got to try and get it out without getting caught. And it's a very good film. Lots of twists and turns. Lots of stuff happens. It is primarily for the film just the 3 of them. There is another character played by Spike Jonze who goes out with them, but he's more a secondary character. These 3 are the primary characters. And it's just a really good film. Very well written. Very good dialogue. Very fast paced. And one, again, when people talk about, George Clooney's best films and Mark Wahlberg's best films, you don't really hear this film getting mentioned, but it is a damn good film and one that I definitely recommend you checking out. Down to the last 2. Coming in at number 2, we have Top Secret. Now, this is a spoof film from the 80s, back when spoof films were actually good, and this one stars Val Kilmer. It is created and written and directed by the Zucker brothers, who also did Airplane and the Naked Gun films. And it's basically a spoof on the spy genre. I have not seen this for a long time, but I remember absolutely just not being able to stop laughing. I remember it just being hilarious. As you say, I can't really remember a lot about it because it has been so long since I watched it, but I can remember the laughs that I had watching this film. I remember there's a toilet scene. I remember there's a scene with men dressed up as women, dressed up as cheerleaders, basically in a bar having a fight. I remember laughing in hysterics at that. Yeah, it's just ludicrous. It's exactly what you want from a good spoof film. It is one of the lesser talked about of like the Airplanes and the Naked Guns. Kind of went under the radar. It was basically, from what I remember reading about this film, basically I think Val Kilmer either had to do this or wanted to do this in order to get the role in Top Gun. Paramount basically made him sign a contract, so this was the film he did before Top Gun. I think he also did Real Genius. I think that's a Paramount film as well he did before Top Gun, and then he obviously went into Top Gun and that catapulted him to fame. But yeah, great film, only 90 minutes as well. I got this import from Germany for under £10, so if you've not seen the film, I definitely recommend you giving it a check out. Checking it out. Right, the last film is a film starring my favourite actor. Might already know the film that I'm talking about if you've watched my channel for a long time. It is his best film, and it is a film, again, don't hear getting talked about that much anymore, and that is Southpaw starring Jake Gyllenhaal. This is an underdog sort of boxing film, not like Rocky, completely different to Rocky. Basically, it's about a boxer played by Jake Gyllenhaal who's at the top of his game. He's about to have I think he's about to have the world championship match, and something tragic happens, and he basically loses everything. He reverts to drink. He becomes an alcoholic. He loses custody of his daughter, and it is basically, the film is sort of like a redemption story. It's about him coming back, and he goes to a trainer played by Forrest Whitaker, who basically helps him. He says he's going to help him to win the world championship, and he trains him, and he works on him getting sober so he can get custody of his daughter again. It's just a fantastic film. It is my favourite boxing film, probably my favourite sports film. It is very inspirational film. Jake Gyllenhaal gives the performance of his career, in my opinion. It is, I will still say, it's close between this and Nightcrawler for his best performance. Nightcrawler, he's very creepy. This, he's just very, he's a lot in this. I mean, he really bulked up for this. But yeah, you've also got 50 Cent in this, who plays his manager. He's fantastic in the film. Rachel McAdams plays his wife. As I said, Forrest Whitaker plays his trainer. Directed by Antoine Fuqua, who's obviously done all of the Equalizer films, the Magnificent Seven remake, Training Day. I'm trying to think what else. He has done other ones, but I can't think off the top of my head what the other ones were. No, I'm not going to just sit here because I'll be sat here thinking all day otherwise. I think Two Guns was an Antoine Fuqua film as well. Yeah, Southpaw, fantastic film, and my #1 underrated film recommendation. So that is it. Again, I don't know why, but it went on longer than I thought. It's because I ramble, and I do apologise for that. But I hope this video's been of some sort of help. There are some films here that you hadn't seen before, or haven't seen for a long time, that you now want to rewatch. That was the whole purpose of this video. But what I want you to do is give me your recommendations of underrated films in the comments down below, and then I can try and watch them. They may be ones I've already seen, so I may just agree with you. They may be ones I haven't seen, which means I can go ahead and watch them. But yeah, that is it for this video. If you want to see more of these videos, let me know down in the comments. If this video as well gets enough views, I think it warrants it, I will continue making these videos. If not, we'll just stick with the collection videos. But yeah, that is it for this video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a like, subscribe back down below for more videos like this. Turn your notification bell on so you know when I have a new video uploaded onto the channel. Comment down below anything and everything. As I said, give me your recommendations of your personal underrated films. And that is it. So until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye.